I want you to tell me a story. I want you to tell me a story. Okay, I want you to tell me a story.
What kind of story?
What kind of story would you like to hear?
What kind of story? Um, I want you to talk about what you think of when you hear home.
Um, I think the most constant thing that I think about when I think about home would be the woods in my backyard. Um, so right behind my house, there's my yard, and then right behind the yard, there's the woods. You could still see my house from where we went. It wasn't like that big or that far. Um, it seemed pretty far though for me because I was little.
I've lived in many different places, and whenever I'm in different towns or different cities or out of the state or anything, I tend to almost get this feeling of like I belong here and like a sense of feeling of like home for me. And I've noticed that like more frequently as I've grown older and everything, and I tend to just associate anything that's like, I don't know, big city or urban living and stuff as somewhere where I would consider home when I was younger. But now that I'm older, I tend to like lean more towards empty fields and more rural areas, kind of where I grew up.
I'm First thing that pops into my head is when I was in high school, I got into a really big fight with my mom. I don't even remember what it was about. It was probably something completely irrelevant, but she was super mad at me. I was super mad. She kicked me out of the house, and I ran out of the house with no shoes, no keys, no wallet, nothing, and she locked the door behind me.
I don't know if it's just because I'm more familiar with areas like that or something, or just because of the type of people that live in more rural areas are nicer and stuff than in urban settings, and you don't deal with crazy people or people all over the place and stuff. So I feel like home to me is just wherever I feel comfortable.
Probably when I was really young, like 5 or 6, I couldn't go out there by myself too much because, it was the woods and it was big and um, I had to stay close to home. So I would follow my brother and do whatever he was doing. The first thing I could think about was he would go out and show me how to find salamanders. Um, so my woods, right walking out into it, is really muddy. Like you take a step and your foot sinks like a foot, like literally a foot into the ground. So we had to kind of like hop our ways on little moss patches without sinking into the mud. And it was kind of like, like a hopscotch, but with moss.
I was kind of screwed, so I just started walking down the bike path by my house. It was really the only way to get anywhere. I didn't want to go in the streets, so all the gravel would cut up my feet, crossing highways and jumping in front of cars and stuff. So I just walked down the asphalt.
I'll be like at the lake or something, or I'll be going for a drive, and I'm like able to watch the sunset. I'm able to see the stars at night and everything, and I'm like, wow, I love this feeling. I feel like I should be here right now. Whereas, like, when I'm here, I don't feel like I belong at all.
So we would hop on the moss, and then we'd get to these little, what I assume before we moved there used to be like a wooden pathway that was up above the mud. But at that point, it was like kind of rotting. And we could actually lift up each of the little wooden steps. And under the wooden steps, that's where we would find bugs and stuff, and then occasionally salamanders.
It was so hot out that day. I think it was the middle of summer. My feet just got instantly burned up by the black hot asphalt. And so I was just burning my feet, walked into the woods and just kind of wandered around and sat on a rock for a while until eventually she came and felt bad for me and she came and picked me up.
lately for me it's been whenever I go to the beach or if I see water or like a lighthouse or something, I kind of just sit there and I like ponder on this thought like, oh, I want to be near that someday, or like I always want to be surrounded by that. Like that just feels comfortable and like familiar to me for some reason. So I just feel like home is just very subjective for each person or however you're feeling that time in that moment. But for me specifically, it could be pretty much about anything.
Um, and you had to be really fast. So, like, as soon as you lift it up, the salamander could be gone because they move so fast. And my brother was really good at lifting up really fast and then grabbing the salamander before it got away. I was never as good at it as him. And I think I felt like that a lot. Not like jealous, but like just impressed. It was this unknown that was so exciting. And the fact that I had someone to kind of lead me through it made it really exciting also. And as I got older, obviously I didn't need to stay with my brother to be back there because I could find my way around myself, and it wasn't too far from my house, but I always remember it being huge. Like I'd go back there, and as soon as I got far enough so that the trees were blocking my house, it just seemed like a whole different entire world that went on forever.